我在这边呢，正好见到了一个参展商，他是从那个微软过来的。那他跟我讲一讲，今年就是说有参展的话有什么感觉。So after a year break from COVID, what do you think exactly? What is your expectation from this show?
Well, at least for me, my expectation is I'm looking forward to getting back into the community, like getting connected with the other people that are trying to solve a lot of these problems. Like this particular conference, particularly. RSA and cybersecurity has been really challenged, over the pandemic in the last few years in particular, as organizations and communities and societies had to completely digitize themselves. So it's going to be a really interesting show, both to get back personally in front of people and reconnect with other humans, but also to talk about something that's really important and really critical, in the world stage and, with global economy and global society these days.
Thank you so much. So I just want to actually ask one question. So what do you think actually after 2 years away from COVID to come to this show? What are your expectations? 所以你的期望值是什么？
Find the best cybersecurity options here and more leads for our company.
Thank you.
Representative Spain.
What is your expectation for this year's RSA?
Lots of networking.
Yes,
definitely. And for you.
Yeah, it's very happy to be in person, right?
Yes,
Yeah. All right, good luck. Have a good show.
Thank you.
Okay, I'm here with Access with Joe, and Joe gonna give us a little bit of overview of Access Company. And hello.
Hello.
你好. What do you actually, the problem you're solving to the industry?
Yeah, so the problem that we're solving in the industry is really providing users access to the applications that they need to access in a secure manner. And doing that in a zero trust fashion so that we get user identity and context of the device accessing that application before we broker that connection to those applications.
Do you set the goal that you're supposed, like when the company started?
Yeah, so the goal of the company when it first started was to solve that third-party access problem. So when we started the company in 2019, we were looking at that third-party contractor access. So we started with our agentless platform in the beginning. So things like web, SSH, RDP, GET, database, VNC, we're able to do that without putting an agent on the device. So the reason for that is contractors usually have a lot of agents on their devices, and installing another agent to give them access to your platform to do any type of work was problematic. So we started with the agentless platform. And then in 2020, when COVID hit, we pivoted and we added an agent-based platform. So now we can do more of that any protocol piece to get those users really off that VPN and only give them access to the applications that they need access to.
So what do you see for the next 5 or 10 years of your development?
Yeah, so really it's getting around that security services edge space. So really getting into the CASB, the DLPs, the SWIG capabilities, really treating those endpoints as if they're all infected and they're all on a Starbucks network. So no longer having these users on internal networks with everybody working remote. The goal is to treat every laptop as if it's compromised and it's on a Starbucks network, for instance.
How's the show this year?
It's been great. This is my first time at RSA.
Oh, that's nice. Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate it.
Yeah.
I'm here with the check marks with Kobe, and Kobe didn't help us to answer a few questions about the company. Hello. Hi.
How are you?
Great. And my first question is actually facing the complexity of the industry and how your product will make a difference in this market.
Of course. First of all, as you see in the application security domain,
I have a Kobe here to help us to answer a few questions. Here we go, Kobe.
So, as you can see in the application security domains, the attack surface, especially when everyone is moving to the cloud, is actually growing larger and larger. So at Checkmarks, what we're doing, we decided to build a platform through which we actually integrate all the different scanners that we have. The more traditional ones like SAS and software components analysis, SCA. We also added TICs for infrastructure as code for cloud developers. And now in RSA we also announced about Fusion. Fusion is actually a layer that takes results from the different scanners and brings you new results. Okay, so for example, if you can see through infrastructure as code that there is an S3 bucket which is open to the world, and through the analysis of your code in SAS, you can see that you're actually storing PII there. We can provide you with a new vulnerability, which is, hey, you're storing that in an unsafe place. Actually, we create new results through Fusion. And also our platform is also serves both developers and also application security people. We also integrate seamlessly into the applications, into the developers' workflow. And we're also, what is also unique about our platform is that right now we're delivering it on multi-tenant, multi-cloud. We are soon going to deliver it also in single tenant on cloud and also on the customer's VPC. This is a very unique offer. So a combination of the delivery model, our scanners, making 1 + 1 = 3 from our different vulnerabilities. This is what is unique about it.
So, how did you see the industry has evolved from the past 5 years?
I think the industry involved in these main dimensions. First of all, application security doesn't serve only the security departments. It also serves developers, and we understand that if we will not make it easy for developers, then the products will not be properly used. They will not be properly adopted. This is number one. Number two, the transformation to the cloud has changed the industry in two aspects. First of all, we need to expand our scanning surface in order to provide full protection, also to cloud. And second, the delivery model of the products themselves have to change from on-prem to cloud. These are the two main dimensions that we see that are changing in the market. We also see a very high trend of people wanting to learn about application security. So a lot of so for example in Checkmarks we have our training product which is called Code.
Okay, my last question for COVID is actually, how did you feel this year after 2 years break from COVID?
I felt so happy. At last, we can meet face to face with people from the industry and actually see what everyone has been up to. We can see our customers, see our prospects, actually see with our own eyes and have face-to-face conversations with our colleagues, with our customers, with our prospects. Great.
That's right. We see a lot of smiles faces here and re-engage, reconnect, right?
Yeah. Exactly.
Great. Thank you so much, Colby. Thank you. Appreciate your time. Thank you. Okay. I have the Bloom-based company here, and I have Michael, and going to help us to introduce his company. So tell us what you do.
So we provide an encryption for data at rest product. The product provides a drop-in system-agnostic solution for encrypting multiple types of data encryption solutions, storage backends. So if you have traditional SAN or NAS storage, but also new cloud-based solutions such as object storage like S3, or if you have new high-performance technologies such as NVMe over Fabrics, then we can provide a single solution that just drops into your existing infrastructure to encrypt and decrypt automatically all of those different backend storage technologies. And the key thing is that the solution doesn't require any type of agent or integration with your applications or front-end servers. It's a complete package just dropping into your existing infrastructure. It's a standalone solution.
Nice. So how did you differentiate yourself from many other of the company here that have the similar concept and a similar of the two?
So I mentioned it a little bit, but basically there's other encryption solutions out there, but most of them will work on a case-by-case basis or application-by-application basis. So for instance, you might encrypt your databases with a TDE solution, but that will only work with the specific software that you're using it with, or a specific OS. So our solution, by being a bump in the wire, doesn't touch the application servers, and it's just sitting between the backend server and the application servers. So you don't need to do any special integration, or there's no special or extra requirements to deploy it on your infrastructure.
I see. So is it your first year exhibit at RSA?
No, actually we've been at RSA for a few years. This is our first year since 2020. Because unfortunately things have been slowed down by the pandemic, but we're really happy to be back here after a few years of the pandemic.
So how did you feel actually this year, the show? This is the second day in the show.
So it's pretty good. There's a lot of traffic through here, a lot of different people coming through. A lot of our business partners are here, so we've been able to catch up with a lot of colleagues and partners, and new customers have been coming by, so having a good time.
Great. Thank you so much, Michael.
No problem.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you.
Hello, Taylor. My name is Sunny, and I'm actually representing Tianxin. And give us a little bit introduction of who you are and what company you are with.
Sure, yeah. My name is Tyler Moffitt, and I work for WebRoot, which is a open text company. I've had a long career with WebRoot, worked there 12 years, and mainly in engineering with threat research. So actually researching threats and classifying them in a database. And the past couple of years, I've moved over to the marketing side, where I come and speak at events and appear at shows like this.
So my next question is actually, what a product, new release product you bring to the market this year?
Absolutely. So OpenText, which is our parent company, and they're, what they're doing is they have essentially, on a cyber resilience strategy, they have purchased a whole bunch of, sister companies that we partner with. So we're WebRoot for security. Then we also have Carbonite for, data privacy and data, management and security. And then also Zix was the most recent acquisition that just happened, I think, less than 6 months ago. And that is for email security. So we essentially have the entire ecosystem of everything you would need in a layered solution to protect the entire scope, if you will, or attack vector or attack surface that small to medium or in large size businesses would have. And so that's really what we bring to the market that's unique, is the entire system. If we're talking about from encountering a threat to recovering from threats, we have pretty much a solution for every different aspect in that journey.
Julia mentioned about the threat intel report that's going to be released this year. So what do you actually think in the response for this report?
Yeah, so threat report, we give insights and trends into what has happened in the previous year. And so one of the things we've noticed is extortion. Extortion is now pretty much mainstay and included in every single major ransomware campaign. The groups that do them are all doing the extortion. It's a two-pronged approach. So everybody's familiar with ransomware and the business model, where you lock your files and you essentially, they want money back to get those files back. But there's another approach to get you to pay the ransom, and that's, even if you have adequate backups and you can bounce back from this, what we'll do is the information that we stole, not just encrypted, but we stole really important information, let's say customer information, right? Identifiable information, and they will leak it. They will literally publish it on the dark web, and it's done as an extortion. They have leverage because even on the sites in which they publish this data in the dark web, they will even put code from GDPR, the data privacy governing laws for Europe, or CCPA for California, basically stating how long you have to disclose to these data privacy governing laws, organizations, before you incur fines. And so this is a whole nother squeeze or push on the organizations, because if they do want to go that route of not paying the ransom, then you've got to deal with crisis comms and communicating to your partners and customers that there was a breach and the damage to brand and reputation. It's huge, and it's so huge that in many cases we're seeing people negotiate or pay ransoms not because they didn't have adequate backups, but because they just didn't want that damage to brand and reputation, and they wanted to just sweep it under the rug and have nobody know about it. And so it's very effective, and it's why we're seeing ransoms increase so much. The average ransom payment now is $322,000 in 2022. It was $6,800 in 2018. It increased to like $80,000 in 2019, $130,000 in 2020, and here we are at over $300,000 in 2022. And so inflation's not going to help that. My prediction is it's only going to go up. So it's definitely a big concern for businesses of all sizes to watch out for with this new trend, for sure.
Okay. How did you see your growth or development for the next 5 years?
That's a good question. I do believe that the next 5 years are going to be crucial in people realizing the importance of multi-layered solutions. So a lot of people out here may only have one layered solution, just endpoint security, right? We have the approach or understanding and vision and the cyber resilience strategy and the security posture that you need multiple layers. So let's say in the chance of an infection from ransomware, it starts as an email that comes to a user. Well, we just have Zix for email security, can stop the email right there. But no one layer that we offer is 100%, nor do we ever market it as 100%. And so that's why we suggest multiple layers, that are like 90+% effective, and you compound them together throughout the attack chain to achieve as close as you can get to 100% protection. So to walk you through it, email security, right? Send that email away, but that won't always work. So what happens if it is delivered to the inbox? The user has a chance to click on it, right? And so then we have user education. We have that in our security awareness program. But again, that's not 100%. Usually you can reduce that by about 90%. You're still going to have those users who click on stuff they shouldn't click on, right? And so then what are they clicking on? What are we talking about? What's a URL or an IP, right? Going to a phishing web page or trying to download a malicious payload. And so in that scenario, our DNS protection, another layer we have, would be able to, by our bright cloud powered threat intelligence and the 56 billion URLs that we classify constantly, would be able to tell us if those URLs or IPs are bad when they're being communicated to, and can block it there. That's about 95% effectiveness, right? So if that were to fail, what's happening? We're actually downloading a malicious payload. And so when that malicious payload is written to disk, but before any execution, our web root endpoint protection would be able to quarantine that file before it has any chance to do anything bad. And even if that were to fail, and that's one of our strongest layers at 99.7% effectiveness, on execution, it's got heuristics, which is just like traditional AV, like what was usually marketed 5-10 years ago here. So, and that's just one layer way further down the chain. And you have these multiple layers essentially coming down to get you really, really close to the full protection. Now, it's never a guaranteed full protection. In fact, good security posture is the assumption that it's not a question of if I'll be attacked, but when I'll be attacked, right? Which is why after the endpoint protection part, then we have Carbonite and our solutions there for backup and recovery and bouncing back to make sure that you have everything you need and can restore it and go through that process. So that way, if you ever were in the event where you were infected, you would be able to have minimal downtime, as downtime is also a killer, especially to the small to medium-sized businesses. And so we have essentially the entire ecosystem of what you would need from beginning to end of the threats that are showcased and talked about in today's threat landscape. We have the solutions for it all.
So how did you feel the RSA today, this year?
It was good. Very good to be back in person, obviously. Last time I was at RSA was February 2020, right before the pandemic hit. You could sort of almost feel it coming when you flew away from RSA. So it was good to be back in person. Not quite the same level of crowd that we've seen in previous years, but it's still a healthy amount. And it's good to see the people back. I can see most people are, just happy to be in person again, say hi and connect with colleagues that you haven't seen, and meet them. You've just been Zooming for the past 2 years and things like that. But it's very good to see. I actually attended some sessions that were interesting to me. I follow crypto very passionately, and I watched one on crypto laundering and when it goes dark, and one of the takedowns of the dark web marketplace Hydra, and what was going on with that scenario, and it was definitely interesting. It was good to see, and I'm glad that there's more penetration, and I hope to see more cryptocurrency breakout sessions at these technology conferences, because I feel that blockchain technology is here to stay, and that we're going to see more involvement with InfoSec and blockchain.
Great.